Hello, so I have these two HULKS here, and let's try to compare between the two. So this is the NMK and this is the Graven Labs. Both are fan arts, both are very big, and both are 1/4 scale. It seems like their hands are more bigger than me though. But either way, I'm very excited to show you guys this one. So let's see. Let's try to compare these big boys right here. So let's check first the size of this two. So I hope I'm gonna give you guys a good angle because it's actually a bit hard to show because they're not in the same level. So I also didn't want to move the Graven Labs HULK because I really find it hard to move him. But either way, so in terms of head, this one has bigger one and it has a more, I would say, proportioned body compared to this one. So both are actually quite big, to be honest. And if you look at it like this, let me move it like this one, both are actually quite big. So this NMK one has a bit more smaller body but bigger hands and legs compared to the HULK of Graven Labs, where it's more proportioned. As you can see that the body itself is quite big. Look at this, and also the hands compared to this guy who has a bit more or lesser body, but the hands are quite big, like literally very big, and also the legs as well. So I think in terms of proportions, that depends on your liking, whether you want a more Frankenstein, I wouldn't say Frankenstein, like a more proportioned one. I think you get the Graven one. And if the more like unproportioned but really detailed and humongous beast, I think you might want this. It's more of a modern take. With regards to the base, I think for me, I definitely would pick the Graven Labs one, for the reason that it's flat and it's smaller. I like that one. I like the design of that. So that's why I prefer the Graven Labs one compared to this one, where it's really bulky like the HULK, and I feel it's just too much. Like I said in my review, I don't know why they made it this big. What's the purpose or anything? So that's why for me, in terms of base, I really prefer the even though it's not perfect. Some stuff also I don't understand, but I still prefer this kind of base. And then if you want, you can just repaint it compared to this one where you really cannot do anything, because the problem for me is really the bulk or the size of this thing. So with regards to the details, I think this one, the NMK one, wins it. It has just a lot of details. Look at this piece. All the muscles, the fibers there, the texture is just well done, with the shadows and highlights of the paint job. Sometimes I would say the shadows and highlights might be a bit much, but it incorporates really or emphasizes this details that it has compared to the more classic look, but which doesn't have that much of details. But it still looks amazing. Don't get me wrong, this one still looks absolutely amazing. It just looks more classy. Like then what makes it better is that it's more proportioned, so it works pretty well. And look at that, it still has a lot of details. For some, I think they might be asking about more veins. I wouldn't want it to have more veins because I want it to look more classic. And yeah, so in terms of details, you really get a lot from this guy here. So if that's your thing, you might be checking out this dude here. So in terms of face sculpt or head sculpt, this one is a more classic look, which is pretty awesome. To be honest, like really awesome. Look at that. Look how good that is. I think there were a lot of guys complaining about the teeth, that it's not the same as a prototype, but the head itself is pretty good, like really good. And it's compared to this one, this is more of a modern take, like really angry Hulk. Look at that. It still looks awesome as well. No complaints of the head for me. It's just that it's small. I think that's part of the design for this piece, so that he would really look hawkish, like monstrous. And this one is more like a classic look of the Hulk, like more of a Frankenstein. And yeah, look, let's take a look at this teeth again. But okay, I think for me the head sculpt is in terms of like favorite, I would say I'd go for the classic look. Because I kind of like the classic look of the Hulk. So we can't talk about Hulk without talking about the pants. So in here, I think the Graven One Labs has the mixed media, but I think it has more features to it because you can actually customize this. And that's a good thing. Honestly, that's a pretty good thing for collectors, because you get an option on weathering this piece. Look at that. And it also, I guess in terms of design, they were able to, how would say, disassemble this piece and still hide the sim. So that was quite awesome in terms of design. For this one, normally I also like to have a sculpted pants, but I really like some parts of the pants here, but the problem is again these things, as said in my review, I kind of didn't like these things here, but it still looks good. The texture in this one is pretty awesome as well. Look at this. I hope it focuses on the textures also. Look at that. Really amazing. But still, both looks good. I think for this case, I may go for the Graven Labs ones because it packs up some features that the sculpted one doesn't have. So let's not forget checking out the back of these pieces. So like I said, this NMK Hulk is just packed up of a lot of details. Look at this. Compared to the more classic Hulk from Graven Labs. So this is his back. Still awesome though. I love the anatomy, the musculature. But if you compare to this monstrosity, it just packs a lot of stuff. Like, I don't know if some of you might like it, some might not like it, but this is just huge and detailed right there. And plus the, how I would say, the paint job, the shadows and the highlights, it just emphasizes the musculature. And let's have one look again with this Graven Lab ones. So just before we wrap things up, in terms of assembly, wow, you've seen my unboxing video for this guy. That was horrible. It was so hard considering it's a Hulk. Compared to this guy where I just assembled it easily, one piece and everything, voila, very easy, very nicely done. And again, my only beef with this piece, the GL1, is that it's very hard to assemble. I think they told me that you need 3 people. Wow. And I was doing it by myself, and I'm not that big also, so it's really hard for me. So I think that's the only complaint for me. I would say really bad for the GL1 because it's really hard for me, at least for me. I'm not sure for the big guys out there, but yeah, assembly wise, I think this guy won. As for the rating of the comparison of the rating, this too has this. And basically, I would say it's not the rating that I would pick which one is better. It's because both have different designs, different concepts. Yeah, it's not totally a 1:1, as you can see, but it depends on what kind of Hulk you want in your collection. I'm not sure, maybe a lot would love a modern take, or a lot might like the classic look of the Hulk. But either way, I think you won't make a mistake on picking either one. So that's the comparison between the two. If you like more of a classic version, this would be the go-to one, definitely. And if you want more of a modern take, this one is for you, I guess. If you can see easily, the only difference is that this one has a really small head. Hope you can see that. This one has a bigger head. Again, it's more of a classic take. If you've read the comics before, the old comics, this is more likely the concept, and this one is more likely like the modern Hulks out there, where you can see all those details more realistic. There's really like a lot of texture here, like very big hands as well, but you can also get the tiny head. But I feel that both are amazing, both are great on its own. But if I were to pick in terms of concept, I think I would lean towards more on the Graven Labs one, because it's a classic take. It's much simpler and also a bit easier for me to, I would say, display because of the base. This one is very hard to display because the base is very wide. So that's or around, and then it consumes a lot of real estate in the collection area. But either way, like I said, both are amazing. So I hope this is more informative to you guys who wants to get either of this or both of these big boys right here. So thank you for watching, and as always, like and share, and as also subscribe to my channel, The NCHANZPLACE.